Hello everybody, it's Andy here from Media Games. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to use a code lock to open a door, and we're going to be using a line trace system, so blueprint interfaces, and we're going to be using event dispatchers. So I'm going to try and avoid using cast2 as much as possible. There might be maybe one occasion where I use it. So without further ado, let me jump into the video now and I'll show you how to set that all up. So this is a brand new project starting from scratch. I've decided this is how I'm going to do tutorials from now on. It keeps people from getting confused, especially obviously people, because English is my first language. Not everybody else is English, so some people struggle with following along with the things that I say because it confuses them, such as use open close, which was my blueprint interface. So in this video I'm going to be starting from scratch. There's nothing in this at all. This is a complete fresh project. So what we're going to do, we're going to have to create the line trace system. If you've already got a blueprint interface and a line trace, then you can, I'll put like a little thing in the notifications of when to skip to. So we're going to go to first person character, we're going to go to inputs, let's open that up. We're going to go to actions and we're going to create an interact input action. So we're going to right click, we're going to go to input, and then we're going to go input action IA underscore interact. Now we have that set up, and I'm going to go out of here now. We're going to go to IMC default. So all I did there was go back one folder. So we're going to go to IMC default, open that up. We're going to click this little arrow here, which is mappings, and we already have input action jump, move, and look. So we're going to add a new one. So we're going to click plus. I'm going to select the one we just created, input action interact, and then we're going to click save and close. So that's that done. We don't need to do anything else there. That's all set up. So now when we go, actually we do need to do one thing before I forget. In here we need to click on interact and we need to select the key that we want to use. Big mistake there for me. So we're going to click on there, and then I'm just going to click left mouse button because I want my left mouse button to be my interaction key. So save and then close. So that's done, that's set up. The next step, we're going to open up our blueprint for our first person character, which is this one. And I'm going to double click that, which open that up. I'm going to pop that into the tab bar at the top, so it's next to our level. And in here, we're going to add a little bit of code for our blueprint interface. But what we need to do is we need to create an interface. So I'm going to add that in to the first person folder. I'm going to right click, blueprint, and then we're going to go down until we see this one. And we want a blueprint interface. I'm going to name this use open close because we're going to use this to use. We're going to use it to open and we're going to use it to close things. It's like an interaction. So let's double click on, and then in here we can see we have a new function. I'm just going to name that exactly the same, use open, close. And then down here we're going to click on call an editor and then compile and save and close that. And then in here now we should be able to call that. So let's do input action. So let's right click and do IA underscore interact. And then we're going to create a line trace, which is going to detect objects, enable us to interact with them. So we're going to go right click and we're going to get a line trace by channel. Excuse me. And what we want is our character. So let me just quickly reset my screen. So we're going to go to edit, view, window, there it is, window, and then we'll go load layout and then default editor layout. There we go. Let's pop that back in there. Okay, so in here we're going to go to our camera. We're going to drag that in. I'm going to get forward vector, and we're also going to get world location, just like so. And then what we want is out of our vector, we're going to get a multiply. So we can just press the little star on your numpad and we also want an add. So we're going to press add. There we go. So we have 2, just like so. The only thing we need to do now is swap these. So that needs to go into B, not A. Get world location is going to go into A. The add is going to go into end, and get world location is going to go into start. So get world location goes into the plus, and it goes into the start. So you're going to go start and into the add and out to the end, just like so. You've probably made these before, and if you have made them before, don't worry too much about it. Just use the one that you've already got. So you can skip ahead on this section. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a custom event that we can call through our input. So we're going to go add custom event, and this is going to be our line trace, and then we're going to drag that and place that into line trace by channel, just like so. We're going to right click here where it says B vector, and we're going to go and get to float single precision, and then in here we're going to put our value that we want the line to draw from our camera, so the distance from our camera that the line is drawn. So that's going to be, let's say, 250, and then we can compile. So let's go now to out hit. We're going to drag out and get break hit result. I'm going to click the little arrow to drop that down so we have access to all the other outputs. We're also going to get a branch, so hold B for Bravo or B for branch and left click. If it doesn't work for you, just search it the good old fashioned way. I'm going to connect the branch there and the condition return value together, just like this. Okay, now what we want is a second branch, so we can either hold B and left click, or we can copy and paste, it's up to you, and that goes into there. And then we want this one here, hit actor, and then we want does implement and then interface, and then we can click this little arrow to drop that box down, tidy it up a little bit, just like so. And then we also want, let's do a little line, so we're going to double click here, and then out of this we want use open close message, you can see here, and that goes into true, just like so. Let's move that, we'll move that down, move that up, and that goes into there. So what's going to happen is, let's move this, there we go. Okay, so what's going to happen is the line trace is going to be drawn, which is a ray trace. It's like a laser. So imagine you have a laser pointer in your hand, and anything that laser light hits, you're going to be able to interact with if it implements the interface that we have. So the interface is going to be the one we just created, which is going to be this one. So we can drag and drop that, or you can search for it. So we want use open close, just like that. The other way you can do it is select and then click this little arrow, use asset browser selection, just like so. So when this line trace is drawn, it will fire out 250 units in front of the player, 250 centimeters or 2.5 meters. And if it detects that the actor that it hit has the interface implemented in its blueprint, then it'll be able to fire or draw that code that you've set up in that blueprint. So it's a really good way of interacting with multiple objects using one line trace system. So you can have lamps, light switches, doors, elevators, anything that you can interact with, an oven, a sink with a tap, you can use this system to do so. So it's really versatile. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to drag our, so let's go to event graph. I'm going to drag our line trace, and I believe we probably want it on triggered, maybe started. Let's see how that looks. So let's go to debug and do persistent, and then compile, and then go into the level. If we then do left click, yeah, if we hold left click, we draw a constant line. So what we don't want is that. So what we want to do is out of started. So then when we left click and hold, it won't constantly fire that code off like a machine gun. So it's just going to draw a line and from our camera, from our player's perspective, and if it hits something, you can see a little red rectangle. That's going to give us our interaction. Okay, so now that we have that done, that's one of the big chunks out of the way. There's still a little bit to do. So let's comment this. C to comment. This is going to be our input underscore interact draw line trace for interactions. And then we can increase the size. And if we want to, we can also change the color. Let's do blue. Keeps everything looking nice and neat. And this is going to be our line trace. So let's tidy this up a little bit. It's really good practice to keep code nice and clean, because if you get a job in the industry and you're trying to show people, they probably won't want to hire you if you have really messy code. So let's do blueprint interface line trace, and then we can increase the size and let's change the color because them two are together as a little pair. So let's pop that there. Okay, so that's that done. We're going to compile it, we're going to save it. Now what we need to do is create a wall with a door. So let's go to modeling. We'll teach you how to use a little bit of the modeling tools as well. So we're going to go to cube grid and we're going to set the power, which is the size, to let's say 2, and we can draw, let's do a wall like so, and let's press E to increase the size of that like that. Click accept. Oh yeah, we can't edit modify engine assets. Now the reason that happened is because this here is a engine asset, and when you try to draw a cube grid on top, it will try to edit this mesh. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete that. Let's add in a box. Actually no, we'll do a box, that's fine. Or shall we do, let's do a plane, a rectangle, and we'll increase the size just like so. Click accept, and then we have our floor. And then what we're going to do then is go back to our cube grid, and we can, let's do the full size. So we're going to left click around. Should we do this one about there? And then we'll do here, and then we'll increase that size all the way up. And then what we'll do is we'll select this one, and we'll select this one, and then we can use Q to go down. So there we have 4 walls made really easily, just like so. And then we click accept. Now we have 4 walls, we can make a door. So let's create a doorway. So cube grid, and then we'll do this one here like this, and then Q, and then Q, and then click accept. And then we can copy this, just like so, and then we can create the doorway here as well. So we've got another room to go to. So let's do cube grid, let's drag Q and Q, and then we need to add a floor. So we could do, let's go there, and then click accept. So we have our doorway, and we have a second room. Now we just need to add a door that we need to allow to open. So we're going to create a box. I'm going to place that box. I'm going to increase its size. Let's scale that out a little bit, and then shrink its depth down. Depth, not depth. And then increase its height. Okay, so we've now got a door, and we can place that where we want. There we go. So we've got a separate entity there that we can use as our door that we're going to open up. Let's go into the level. We can see here that we can walk through. Perfect. So let's move this door down back to its default position where it was before. There we go. We're going to turn this into a blueprint. So let's go to Control Space, Content Browser. Let's create a folder and call this Blueprints, Blueprint Actor, _ actors. And then we're going to open that up, right click, Blueprint Class, Actor. Just bear with me while I have a quick drink. Okay, so where were we? Right, yeah, so Blueprint Actor, and then we're going to name this to our door _ BP. Excuse me. So we have our door _ blueprint created. Now we just need to add stuff to it to make it functional. So we're going to right click on this asset that we just created and go to browse to asset, and we can see here that we have the room that we made and the door mesh. What we want to do is we want to add that to our blueprint. So if we go to Blueprint Actors, open up our door BP, left click on our door that we already made in our scene, right click, browse to asset, go back into our door blueprint, press Control and Spacebar, and we can see here that we have the box. We can rename that to our door so we know what it is, drag that in, and there we have our door added. Compile and save, go back into our level, and then what we can do is we can drag blueprint into the scene, then delete it, left click on the one that we added, right click, and then replace with door. So now we don't have to realign that up. It's already lined up because we've basically swapped its world location for the blueprint actor that we just created. So if we move this, if you look here, you can see it says box, edit, door, blueprint. So we don't have to try to fiddle around and align it up perfectly. It's all done for us now. So in our door blueprint, there's quite a few things that we'll need to add. So what we're going to do is go to our event graph, and in here we are going to create our line trace reaction code. So basically when we call our line trace from our first person character's blueprint, we want it to function in here. So we're going to go to class settings, excuse me. Once we're in class settings, we're going to go to implemented interfaces. We're going to click add. I'm going to type in use open close. You can see here, use open close. Perfect. Compile that, save it, just in case it crashes. And we can drag that in. Actually, double click it, it will add it. Sorry, not drag. Double click and it will add it to our graph. Once we've added that to the graph, we're going to add a custom event. So add custom event. Apologize if I cough. I do have asthma, and when I talk for long periods of time, it just makes me cough and it becomes uncontrollable. So I do try and edit them out, but sorry if it distracts you. So we're going to add custom event, which we've done, and then this is going to be toggle. Oops, not 3Gs. Toggle. Door code. And then we can drag. See, in our event graphs, we've just created a custom event, so that will appear here. We can drag that and place that on our event use open close, and then compile. And to show you that work, let's do a flip flop, flip and a flop, a flip and a flop. There we go, and then connect that up. And then out of here, we're going to get a print string. Oops, print string. And we're going to copy and paste, connect that one into B, and then this is going to be A, and this is going to be not Hialo, we're going to be B. There we go. So we're going to go A, B. So if I go into the level and I walk up to this door and left click, if you look at the top left of the screen, A, B, A, B, A, B. That's how a flip-flop works, if you didn't know. It just flips and flops between A and B. So A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. We're just flipping and flopping. Right, okay, so we know this works, and we know that it's now working and callable in our door blueprint. So whenever this detects that the actor is implementing, so this is called implementing, we've implemented the interface. So now that our line trace in our first person character detects that this actor has an implemented interface, it enables us to call this code. So anything that we put, whether it be a sound effect or this is just like open, close, this would be the world's simplest door. You just put open door, closed door on a flip-flop. If it didn't have anything to it, like a key or a code lock, then that would work perfectly fine. Okay, so moving on, let's get rid of this because we don't want that. We want a branch, excuse me. So hold B, left click, and we're going to connect that into there. Okay, so let's create a variable. This variable is going to be our condition, and we're going to call this one is on screen with a question mark and type of boolean. We're going to drag that into our condition. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a widget code which is going to enable us to place that widget on screen. And in order for us to do that, we need to, obviously first thing we need to do is create a widget, but we can set up the code and get it ready in here. So what we're going to do is out of false, we're going to create widget, just like so. And we're going to get player controller, just like this. And then we're going to add to viewport, just like that. Okay, and then what we want to do then is we're going to drag out of this. So we're going to double click here. Let's straighten that up. Oops. And then out of this, we're going to get set input. And there we go. We can see game mode and UI. Let's do a little tiny reroute there, just to make it nice and tidy. There we go. That's going to go into here. And player controller will be this. So what we can do is pop that into there, and then we can double click, create a reroute, and then we don't want to check anything here, but we do want to hide cursor during capture and then leave as default settings. And then over here, the next one we're going to do is we're going to drag out of this and get show mouse cursor, set, not get, and that's going to go in there, just like so. I'm going to move that to there like that. And then the next one is we're going to set here this variable, just like this, and then we're going to click tick because we want that to be on. Okay, then what we're going to do is we are going to create the close version, or the remove from screen. This doesn't go into here, my bad, my mistake, ignore that. This is going to be add custom event, and this is going to be use CODELOCK, and then that's going to go in there like that. This can go up, this can go up, and out of the toggle here we want if the CODELOCK is currently on the screen and that's true, we want to close it, so we want that to be in false. So let's do another one. Let's get a custom event, and this one is going to be close CODELOCK. And then we want out of here remove all widgets, like so. And then we compile. What have we got an error for? Oh, that's fine, just because we haven't selected anything. So we've got remove all widgets, and we also want to add a redundancy in. That redundancy will be if the player was to, so let's say you walk away from this door with the code lock still on screen. You don't want to then have to be walking all the way around the level with this code lock stuck. So we're going to add in some code here. We're going to use a collision detection. So let's do add, and let's do a box collision. So box collision. We can fix that once we've created our widget. For now, it's asking us to create a widget that we haven't specified as the class. So that's what that error is. So in this box collision, we're going to right click and then do end overlap. We don't need to do a cast to, because there's no enemy AI or anything running around. That could just go into there. And then we want to do set input mode, and then we do game only, and then the player controller, let's do a double click here and then pop that in there. So we've got player controller and then set input game mode. And then what we want to do is we want to grab this, which is our show mouse cursor. So let's get a copy, Control C, Control V, copy and paste. And this is also going to be our controller input. And last but not least, we're going to copy this, which is our set variable that we created, is on screen. I'm going to Control C, Control V, and then once we've pasted, the uncheck is on screen, compile, save, and then up here we want to add close to true. So this confuses you. That's just basically someone like saying, is the light on? If the light is on and the answer is true to that question, is the light on? Well, yeah, it is. Then you want to turn it off. If the light isn't on, then you want to turn it on. So that's all this is. You can reverse that with a not boolean, but we're not going to do that today. Okay, so you've got your blueprint interface call message. You've got your toggle between the two states, state 1, state 2, and it's all nice and tidy. And now all you're going to do is we're going to create the widget. So let's compile, and let's go to our folder. Let's do a new one and we'll call this one widgets. Widgets, and then left click, double click, sorry, to open the folder up. We're going to right click, we're going to go to user interface, and we're going to go widget blueprint, click user widget. This is going to be our code lock underscore widget WBP, widget blueprint. Okay, select it, go into our door blueprint, and then left click, and then compile and save, and our door will be back because we haven't got a broken blueprint anymore. Right, so that's done. Now what we're going to do, everything in here can wait now, so we'll do the next section first. So let's open up our widget blueprint and let's start adding things to it. So we're going to need a canvas panel, so let's search canvas panel. I'm going to drag that onto our CODELOCK WBP. This is going to be our window resolution. So this is your monitor. Everything in between here is what you see when you're playing the game, when you're browsing the internet or anything like that. This is your screen resolution here. I'm using 1920 by 1080, so you can see here my selection is 1921 by 1081, so it's slightly overlapped. But this is my screen res. If you're using 4K 4096, then it will say that up there. So let's compile that and let's start adding things in. Now what we want to add in is a multi. We want a let's see if I can find it. Never remember the name of it. Uniform grid panel, that's the one. We're going to drop that on, and we're going to place that in position that we want it. This is going to be for your buttons, like so. Okay, set the anchor to the center of the screen. There we go. And then we're going to start adding buttons to this. So let's get a button like this. Let's drop that there. Let's drop that. That should have gone on. There you go. So we can move that around. So let's add. We want this one to be button 0. And we're going to Control C and paste. We want 11, I believe, so, or 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then what we can do is we can move these around. So let's take this one and let's move that over. Let's take this one and let's move that over 2 times. Let's take this one, move that down. Let's take this one and move that down and right. Let's take this one, move that down, right, right. Feels like I'm inputting a video game cheat code. Let's take this button, down, down, and then go this one, down, down, right. This one, down, down, circle, circle, square, square, triangle, triangle. There we go. And this one, down, down, down. I think that was right. Yeah, it was. And then this one, down, 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 right. And then all the way down, down, down. Okay, so select all of our buttons. We want this one, and we want this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Keep going. I've got 3 more to go. It would have been easier if I did this to the first one and then copied and pasted them. My mistake. And we want to adjust the padding. And the padding, we adjust that so that we end up with, let's have a look. Let's have a look, see if we can find it. Oh yeah, it's on uniform grid padding, that's it. And then we do, there it is, slot padding. Let's set that to 1. Let's try. God, my eyesight's bad today. Where did it go? There we go. 5. Or should we do? Yeah, I think that's probably about right. That looks okay. Now we need to add text to each one of these buttons. So we're going to type in text, and we're going to get this text box, and we're going to drop that on, and I'm going to drop that on. So when we drag and drop, it should snap to each one of the buttons. And then once we've done all them, we could name all these as well if you wanted to. You could name them all, but for now it's fine. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, clear and enter, right? So this one's going to be 1. This is going to be, 2. This is going to be 3. This is going to be 4. This is going to be 5. And then so on. I don't skip anything. I do it all in real time so you can follow along. Sometimes when people skip videos, it can be quite confusing for people that are trying to follow it along in real time. So I'm just going to keep it clear. 0. I'm going to keep it all real time as is. I'm going to keep in all of the mistakes so I can show you when I spot them. how I fixed it. Keep everything the same. Okay, so I'll create a little text box, and that's going to be our input text box. Let's do, we want to size the font. There it is. Let's increase that. So let's do maybe that. We'll do 54 and then leave as is. Okay, so we could also do a text or an image actually. If we get an image and then drag this onto canvas panel right there, then if we change it to black, because this is now under these, looks like we're making a calculator. Okay, so if we change it to black, like so, we have a background. We just need to make sure that we center it. There we go. Right, so that's that done. We now have all of that in. We could also create one final button, which would be like close, but for now, shall we add that in? Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do another button. This one's going to go here, like so, and this is going to be maybe like minimize or close keypad. Let's add text. Oops, palette text, and then drop that on. Let's delete that a second. Let's drag that back on. There we go. And that's going to be our close. Okay, so we have all of our buttons in place. We have all of our numbers in place. We have our clear, enter, our text box where we're going to add our input in, our string, and our close button. So let's compile it, save it, and let's go into the level, because this should in theory now work when we left click. There we go, we've got our buttons. We just need to fix the text block there. We need to add an anchor, but we can see here that we can move, and also we need to make sure that it enables the cursor. So in our door blueprint, let's have a look. Show mouse cursor. There we go. Now if we go back in and test that, and we can see our mouse cursor. So it's all working fine. No functionality yet. If we click on any of the black area, it'll exit out as well. So in our code lock, we need to add a anchor. So this is going to be for here, and we're going to anchor that, which is fine. And this is all anchored as well, and that box is anchored. So that should be everything now. Let's just double check. There we go, perfect. Right, so in here now, what we need to do is we need to make sure that this is variable, which means that it's editable in the graph. And compile, save. Let's go into our graph. Let's delete these. Okay. Let's do the buttons. So let's go to button 1. We could probably rename this one actually. So this is button 0. Okay, so this is F2. We'll have to rename it in Designer. That'd be fine. Okay, so button 1, I'm going to go to scroll down, I'm going to click on clicked. We have here button 0 on clicked. So when the mouse clicks on this button, we need it to call code. Now you can add your sound effect, oops, in the button. You can see here, and let's find that for you. Sound, press sound. So we can add our sound effects here, and we can add a hovered sound effect as well, which means that when the mouse goes over it, it'll play a specific sound effect, and when the mouse presses down on the button, it plays a specific sound effect. So there's two ways we could do it. You can add it in the graph with a play sound 2D. You can do it this way, or you can do it the other way. Now, I'm going to do it this way, just because I can't bother doing it the other way. But we're going to do play sound 2D, like so, and then we're going to get a couple of variables that we're going to add. So we're going to go to add variable, and this is going to be a string, and this we're going to name this one to input. So this is a input data. We're going to get a second variable, and this one's going to be our password or code. Let's do correct code. And then this one here, we're going to drag and get. And out of this, we're going to get a length. So len, string length. Now there's a reason why. If we were to go into the game and let's do play and left click and spam 1 on the keyboard, if we were to keep clicking, it would keep placing numbers and numbers, and eventually it would start to write across the screen all the way over. So we want to clamp the length that the input can be. So to do that, we need length, and then we want a greater or equal than. So we're going to get a greater or equal, and I'm going to move that up. Let's move this over a little bit, and we also want an append, so we're going to append it. There we go. And we want a set, so we're going to set input, so let's do that to there. I'll get a set. That's going to go into there, so it's going to look like this. We're going to have input to length to a greater equal, and input to append on the A channel there, and then return value into a set. Out of the set, we're going to get a branch, so hold B and left click. If I keep stopping while I'm talking, it's just because I'm getting a dry throat, sorry. So out of the set, we're going to get a branch. The condition here, you can see return value Boolean condition. It's going to go into the condition of that branch. And then out of here, we're going to get toText string, like so. And then we're going to set text. Well, actually, no, we'll need to do text block, sorry, which is this one. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, this is text box 12. Okay, this is going to be enter code. There we go. So our text box 12, we're going to get, and this is going to be set text, and we want the one with text next to it, just like so. That's going to go into true, and then we can tidy this up, and that's going to go into there. So if we then compile this and we go into the level and we left click and press 1, we can see here that it's added and taken away that value, but it's added 1. So I think we need to add a color. So let's have a quick look to see. Let's have a look. Oh no, so we need to do 1 on this. There we go. So add 1 to append, because that's the value that we want it to input. So we left click and then click 1. There we go. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way across. But we do need to now add our limit. So let's go back into our level and just quickly test that. So let's say we want our limit to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 maybe, or maybe 10, just because some numbers are slightly wider than others. So let's say our limit's going to be 10. So if we close and then type in 1, 0 and then press compile, if we then go into our level and test that, we can see if we, oops, my mistake. What have I missed? Oh no, that's right. Button 1, 0. That's fine, that's fine. String,
Idiot!
string length.
Stupid idiot.
Equal. Let's do maybe 8. Let's test that out again. Okay, so enter code is greater or equal to, so it's not allowing me to change that. So if we do, let's set this to 11, compile it, and let's test. So I'm not too sure why. What have I broke? Let's have a look. Button 0. Let's see which one button 0 was. This one, wasn't it? Yes. Okay, so let's see. How have I broke the input already? What did I add without noticing? Oh, okay, right. So this needs to be maybe. Should we try 12? And then play, but then it's not getting rid of. Did I accidentally edit something? Button 0. Text block 12. Let's do nothing. Let's press stop first. Let's compile. Let's see what happens if we play now. Okay. Did I do it wrong? I very much doubt so, but sometimes I do. Oh! I've connected... Yeah, my mistake. Blind person moment. Right, okay, yeah. So, I don't know why I connected it to true. So false goes into set text. Yeah. So I'm kind of glad that happened. I was having a moment to myself then. I was thinking, no way I've done this wrong. So we're going to compile that and save it. And we're going to add back in our enter code message. Enter code with a little thingamabobby, what you call them, colon. And then let's test it now and it should work perfectly fine. There you go. And then once it gets to that max value, we can't input anymore. So I was having a bit of a brain fart moment then. One of those hidden in plain sight errors. It's right there in your face, but you just can't see it. So now that we've done this for this button, we can Control C, copy, and paste, and then we can click on our buttons. Button 1, on clicked, and then that's going to go in there, and then this is going to be 2. We're going to compile. Let's show you how that works. So now if we go in and we press 1. If we press 2, it'll input. No, it won't, because I didn't. Let's have a look. Let's double check. Which one's... Oh, no, this is button 3. So which one's button 0? Which one's this one? Oh, okay, so that's button 0. Right, my bad. So that was right. Just not the right button. This is why you should name them. It's my fault. We don't want that. We want to get on-clicked. Okay. Stop making mistakes. Come on, Andy. Get your head together. Right, so that will work this time. So if we compile that and test it, so it's good to test your code. And then we click, it will go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we can see here that we can add the 1 and the 2. So the 1 and the 2 buttons are working fine. Next time, make sure you name these. So that's going to be button 0. Shall we quickly rename them? So we've got button 0 is input 1. Button on its own, just button, is input 2. This is going to be input 3. This is going to be input 4. And then this one is going to be input, excuse me, input, what did I say, 5. This one's going to be input 6. And this one is going to be input 7. And number 8, input 8. Oops, it's not how you spell input. There we go. Input 8. And then we've got input 9. And then we have input clear. And then we have input 0. And then we have input enter. Okay. And then with this one, the last one, button 67. I don't know why it named it 67. Input close panel. Right, compile it, save it. Let's go back into our graph. Okay, so input 1 is done, input 2 is done, and then all we're going to do is paste and then connect, and this is going to be free. You can see here, blah blah blah, that's going to be free. And then we're going to do the same again. So let's go to input 4, let's click on clicked, and then let's paste. And then compile. And then we're going to go to input 5. We're going to click on clicked, paste, oops, and then connect. So this one is going to be 4. This one is going to be 5. Just like so. This is the tedious part, but it has to be done. Just like this, get nice and tidy, because you can comment these at the end as well. Keep it all nice and clean so you know exactly what every single thing does. So we've done input 5, so let's get input 6 on clicked. Let's get input 7 on clicked, input 8 and input 9, and we want input clear, input close panel, and input enter. That's going to be there. And we also want input 0, right? Where's that one? There it is. Input 0. Okay, so that's going to go in between these two, because it's actually we could probably do, yeah, we'll do that between the 8 and the 9. So we'll do that there, and then we'll move these two down. Okay, so let's paste. Let's move that down. Let's paste that there. This one is going to be 6. Let's pop that in. Enter. This one's going to be 7. Let's pop that in there, and then put 7 in the input value for our append. And then we can connect these up too. So we're going to connect these like so. Compile. This is going to be 8. Oops. 8. So we've got 7, 8, and we've got 6. So the next one we're going to do is our 0. So this is going to be, oops, this is going to be our 0. Input value 0. And pop that there. And then last but not least, for our numerical values is 9. And that's going to go into here. So compile it, save it, and let's test that. Make sure those numbers all work. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Perfect. Okay, so let's go back into our CODELOCK. Now we have to set up a little bit of code for these ones. So input enter we'll do first. Actually no, we'll do clear. Input clear we'll do first, and we're going to set that up very simple. So we're going to copy that, paste, pop that in there so we can have a separate sound, and we want to set, but we don't want to put anything in it, because this is going to clear all values. So it's going to look like this. So we're going to input set, but if we don't type anything here, it will just clear the input, the text box. So we're going to get our text string, paste that. That's going to go there like so, and then we're going to get our set text. So these two, copy and paste. That's going to go here, and that's going to go in there. So it's going to look like this, and that gets connected. So that's how it should look. So then if we go into the level, we should be able to, that should work. So if we click on our door and then type in random numbers, if we click clear, there we go, and we can type in a new code, so the clear will work. Okay, so now that we have that set up, we could add some sound effects to this, but we're going to do the other inputs first. So input close panel is an easy one. We're just going to drag out of this and get remove all widgets. Just like so. That's done. This is going to be close widget panel. Nice and simple. That one's done. We can move that one out of the way. Just like this. And then the last one, last but not least, is going to be our input for our correct answer. So we're going to get correct code, and out of this we're going to get, and then we're going to get an equal, an equal exactly string. In B is going to be our correct code, and in A is going to be our input, just like so. So if our input that we've typed matches perfectly to the correct code that we want, so let's compile that, and you can see down here we have correct code. So let's do 1 1 2 2 3 3. So we can have any size number. So our code will be 1 1 2 2 3 3. So as the input matches the code that we have here, then it will allow this to fire off. So we're going to get a branch, pop that in there. We're going to get a play sound 2D, pop that there. So we can have sound effects for all of our buttons, just like this. You can do that in your designer, but I just like to add it here. I just feel like it's easier to manipulate, control, and change. It's easier to find for people as well that are quite new to using Blueprint widgets. We want to create an event dispatcher because I don't want to cast to. So let's click on event dispatchers, like so. And I'm not sure why that's happened. Why did it go? There we go. I'm going to rename this. This is going to be correct input added. Just something simple, just like that. And we're going to drag this and drop and get call, and out of true, I'm going to pop that into there. We're going to get a place down 2D and place that here, just like that. And then we want to, let's do set color. So if we get our text block, drag out and go set color, oops, and opacity. Let's see here. We can do that. Not that one, sorry, wrong one. Set color. There we go, and opacity. And then we're going to promote this into a variable, like so. And if we compile it, we can see down at the bottom we can change color. So let's do what would be a correct answer color. Most of us would go for green, right? So let's select green, and we can plug that into there, just like so. Okay, on our clear input, we're going to get this and this. I'm going to drop that in there, and we're going to promote this to a variable because we want a second variable. We'd only use the same one because it will change it to green. This one is going to be white. Let's compile, and this is going to go back to our basic white, which is our basic input color for our clear. Now that we have that done, we can then add in our incorrect code. So for our incorrect code, excuse me, we're going to get our text block, which is this. Right click, and we're going to set text, and we're going to place that into false, just like so. And then in here, we want to, for our incorrect input, we're going to either type in wrong code or error. So whatever we type here is what's going to show in our keypad for the error. I just had a bit of a panic moment. I've been recording for quite a while and I thought it just told me that it had stopped recording, but it hasn't. Okay, so we've got our text block here and we have error. So that means when we input the incorrect value, it will give us this error on the screen. Now we want to play sound at play sound 2D. And then we want to get a set color. So let's grab these two and paste. And we can move them there just like so. So this is all kind of just adding extra functionality and a little bit more kind of to make it look a little bit better. So you don't have to do this part yet, but you can follow along if you like. Let's do a delay. And we'll do a play sound at location. And then we'll do a small delay of, let's say, 1 second. And then what we'll do is we'll copy this one to set the text back to white. So it's confusing, but I'll explain it. So when the player inputs data, if the data matches, then we're going to fire off this code here. If the data does not match, then it's going to fire off this code here. It's going to set the text to error. It's going to play an access denied sound or like some kind of an alarm buzzer, something that's like an incorrect input noise, anything that you want to put. It's going to set the, we need to set the color actually to red. So we're going to promote this to a variable. And this is going to be, let's compile, this is going to be red for red writing. So after it's played that sound, it's going to set the text to red. So this error message here will be red. After a short delay, so let's do 1 second. After a short delay, it's going to play another sound. So this could be access denied. So this could be like your buzz. This could be access denied. And then the delay, and then it'll set the text back to white, enabling you to then write back in white again on your input, rather than it all being then stuck in red. I hope that makes sense. If it's the correct input, we're going to call an event that we can then capture in our door blueprint. We're going to play a sound, access granted, maybe a buzzer noise, maybe even a door unlocking noise, and then we're going to set the color to green because it seems to be the universal color for acceptance, right? So we're going to compile and save. That should, if I'm not mistaken, be everything that we need. So let's test this out. So the code is 112233. So let's go in here. Let's go to our door. Let's type in the wrong code, 545236, and press enter. And we have error. And then after a couple of seconds, the writing goes back to white. We can clear and then try 112233. Press enter, and it goes green. And then we have access to our door, which will then open automatically. Okay, so in our door blueprint, back to our door blueprint again. In here, what we want to do is we are going to, okay, so we're going to add in our event bind. So over here where we have our is on screen set, so let's just make sure we're all in the same blueprint. So this is your door BP that we made earlier. So at the very end of the code, we want to call an event from this. So we're going to drag out of this. I'm going to get bind. And then we need to find that event that we created earlier, which would be, there it is. Bind event to correct input added. There we go. So this is the one we want. I'm going to place that all the way over here at the end and connect that up. Double click, move that up, double click, move that up, just like so. So we now have an event that we can call. This is going to be our correct input event. So let's add custom event, and this is going to be correct input open door. We're going to connect here our delegate pin into our event of our bind, and we want to call the let's have a look. So we want to make sure let's have a look. We want to make sure that we can't keep opening the code lock. So on use code lock, just at the beginning, we want to branch. So that's B. Let's have a quick drink. 1 second. Okay, so our use code lock is going to go into a branch. Out of false, it's going to go into our create code blueprint. And we're going to create a variable. I'm going to call this one correct input entered with a question mark. The reason why is if we drag that in as a condition, if we set this out of here, so let's set that here and then tick. If we then try if we then click on the door after we've had the correct input added, it won't bring up the code lock, right? Because it wouldn't make sense. If the door is now open and it's no longer locked, and the player walks past and accidentally left mouse clicks the open door, that's up in the air. We don't want the code lock to open up on his face. So that's how we would get around, or an easy way of getting around to do that. So that's now done. And then we want a short delay for our door to open. And we're going to compile, and we want to get a reference to our door. So let's drag that in and drop. And we're going to add a timeline and a play sound at location. So let's get a play sound at location, just like so. We're going to get a copy of this to paste, get world location, just like so. And this is going to be our location to play our sound for our door. We're going to do a short delay, so let's do 4 seconds, compile. And this is going to be the sound that you want for your door opening. We're then going to get a timeline, so let's add timeline. This is going to be door opening, and it's going to go play from start, just like so. And then we want to set relative location, like so. And then update is going to go into there. This is going to go on top, make it nice and tidy. And we want to split. Now in here, we're going to open it up, double click. We're going to add a timeline, add float track. And we're going to name this door open. And then we're going to, let's have a look at a couple of things. So let's go to our viewport. And actually we'll go into our level. We're going to click on our door, we're going to check our transform. So we can see here in our transform for our location, we have nothing in our Z value, which is up and down. So if we bring that all the way up, let's go to there. That's 233. So let's go back and let's type in, let's go to our door blueprint, open our door. So you can do it this way, but it should already be opened at the top. So open up your timeline. I'm going to right click, add key. This is going to be 0, 0. Right click, add key. And this is going to be, let's say, we want the door to open over 4 or 5 seconds. So let's do 4 seconds. And this is going to be 2, 3, 0. And then press F to center. Left click on the small diamond top right. Right click auto. Left click on the small diamond bottom left. Right click auto. This will give us a nice smooth opening animation. And then we're going to compile that and save. Go back into our event graph. And then what we want to do is we're going to, out of finished, we can add another sound effect, maybe like a a seal locking in place to hold the door up. So we can copy this and this. This is all stuff that you can add after the fact, but now at least you know how to add it. So it's all in place. All you need to do is add the sound effects that you want. So then your door open is going to open on the Z axis. So you're going to connect door open to Z, which is why we split the struct pin. And there you have your door opening code and your animation and your sound effects with your delays and everything else. That should all work. If we compile that and save it and go back into the level and then play, let's do the wrong code, enter, error, clear, let's do 112233, I think that's what it was, enter, and then if we close, the door should now open. There you go, working perfectly fine. And then if we click on the door, it won't open the widget anymore. It won't allow it to. The code can't fire off, and there's very little cast 2s that are being used. There's no box collisions waiting for a cast 2, waiting for this cast 2, for that cast 2. It's all line traces and event dispatchers. So if you want to add a sound effect for your buttons being pressed, what you can do is you can create, let's go to a new folder. Let's get a new folder and let's do sounds. Open up your sound folder, right click, go to sounds, audio, sound queue, and we want to open that up, and then we want to search for some sound effects. So let's do click. Let's do maybe, so we see if we can find one. Buzz, not Buzz Lightyear. Have we got any sound effects? I'm not even sure if we even have any sounds. I should do sound. There we go. Okay, so we've got some sound effects here. Let's see, have we got one where we are clicking? Let's have a look. I don't think any of these ones will work quite the way I want them to. Let's do that, and let's go to sounds, audio. Do I have anything? No. I don't have anything to use because it's a new project and I didn't think that one through. So what you could do is you could add a modulator, and then in here you could do pitch, maybe 0.7 and 1.1, and then volume would be 0.8 and 1.1. Oops. And this would basically give you more variety over a single audio sound. So if you find a click noise, like a keypad being pressed, and then you drag your sound effect in here, it will go through the modulator, which will then change the pitch and volume slightly on each press to give it a sense of randomness, so it's not just the same sound played over and over again. I'm going to stop here because I don't think my throat can take any more talking, but I hope this video helps. I hope you've learned a lot from watching the video. I appreciate all your support. If you like the video, please like it. If you dislike it for any bizarre, odd reason, then if you want to be that guy or girl, then go ahead and hit that dislike button if you really, really need to. But I appreciate if you like it because it helps me out on YouTube, helps the algorithm, it helps my videos get more views. It earns me money in that sense, you know. And I appreciate if you could subscribe as well. So if the video has helped you in some way, then hit that subscribe button. Click the notifications button so you can get notified when I upload new videos. But yeah, so that'll be it for this video. You've got everything there to stop it from overlapping. You've got a lot of the other little fidgety things as well, like your sound effects that you can add in at the end. But yeah, everything should work. All the functionality works fine. if we input the correct code, you can see that the door will open. But yeah, so hope that helps. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now. A quick note here at the end of the video. I forgot to mention in the video that I just recorded, spent nearly an hour, 2 hours editing. In your door blueprint, make sure that you do size your box collision. So your box collision will be small to start with, so make sure you size this up. This will be the distance that the player has to walk away from the door in order for that to disappear. So if I left click and walk back, you can see that it removes it from the screen. So thanks for watching again. Take care. Bye bye.